This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Let's going to WrestleMania. Claymore! Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Welcome, everybody, to the Week in Review. It is Sunday. It is March 23rd, 2025, as we continue our journey to WrestleMania 41. It is a weird run to WrestleMania this year because as we were a month or two, well, 2 months out, 3 months out, myself, many of you felt it was not feeling like WrestleMania season. It felt very much like it was just another PLE we were about to come up on. And then The Rock comes back and the big angle and the John Cena turn now. And we're like, all right, we're cooking. We're cooking with gas. We're ready to go into WrestleMania. It feels a little bit more like it is the season. But somewhere along the way, it feels weird. In between the John Cena heel turn and now, I'm not saying it doesn't feel like WrestleMania. It feels like a WrestleMania that I'm not used to. It's a very weird run now between their big angles and WrestleMania. And perhaps it has something to do with the fact that they have their big stars on every 4 weeks. Now, we haven't seen The Rock since Elimination Chamber. Roman Reigns is on every 3 weeks, 4 weeks as well. Cody Rhodes is there every week, but he's the champion. He should be. And so it's kind of strange. And now we have a triple threat. And I'm going to talk about that at the beginning here because I can't wait till deeper in the show to discuss it. So we'll talk about that in a moment. But beyond the triple threat, which is bizarre, we do have this John Cena angle and the Cody John Cena angle, which is, it's been shocking. It's been a little concerning as well because Cody decides to restrain himself from attacking John Cena after being humiliated, kicked in the nuts, bloodied, literally beaten up on Elimination Chamber, and just has just nothing but a war of words for John Cena after that. So, I don't know. And then the rest of the card shakes out a little strange. Tiffany and Charlotte had a kind of a weird interaction on SmackDown. I'll talk about that. And if you already heard Amanda give her take, that certainly it was a weird one. The Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte sit down back and forth interview that went a little bit off the rails. You could see Tiffany a little bit flustered by the things that Charlotte had to say. But I do want to ask one thing of you guys. We have 3 shows in April, big time shows because they are in the heart of WrestleMania, that Amanda will not be available for. So I need looking for a temporary 3-show fill-in. Those dates are the SmackDown on the 11th, on the 18th, and the 25th of April. So back to back, the 2 SmackDowns that are preceding WrestleMania and the one that is post-Mania. So 11th, 18th, 25th. Anybody that's interested, send me an email at mailbag@wwepodcast.com. And what I would really ask is, number one, that you have decent audio equipment. Doesn't have to be top of the line, but you can't sound like you're using your internal mic or some just, piece of garbage. We need to have this podcast sound pretty good, as I do like to make sure that's a top priority. And also, you have to have hopefully a little bit of audio experience. If not, at least just a passion for wrestling. And it'll be 3 weeks. And send me an audio clip if you're interested at mailbag@wwepodcast.com. 5-10 minutes long, and maybe we'll get you in a fill-in position for arguably the 3 biggest SmackDowns of the year. So that's my ask of you guys. And of course, it's on a volunteer basis. You guys aren't required, but it'd be cool to have a voice fill in for just a few weeks. If not, I can do it, but definitely I'm throwing it out to you guys first. Okay. So yeah, we have Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte. That's a little weird. We've got the women's championship scene on Raw. That's also a little wonky, as we have a triple threat that we all saw coming, but one that I think still storyline-wise would have been fun, Rhea and Bianca. But Io is arguably, dare I say, she is the favorite among the audience to win the match and retain her championship. You don't see a whole lot of WrestleMania matches where you're rooting for the champion to retain. Because normally we have a champion going in that is a heel, so that's a little different. And also, it's usually a time for change. It's a pass the torch time, and it's not the case here because Io she's on the rise right now. Fans are really behind her, and they're not wanting to see Rhea or Bianca capture the championship. Number one, we've seen Rhea be champion for the last year, off and on. And then Bianca, that's an interesting story because the fans turn on her overseas. We'll see if that translates to the United States crowds. But even though she hasn't had a sniff of the women's championship in a while, the women's WWE championship, it's strange that they don't really have any interest in having her back in the picture. I'm not sure what's going on there. Again, we'll have to see how this translates to the North American crowds. But right now, Io is the one that she's the hot hand. She's the hot hand. So that's kind of a weird situation. So you got two triple threats. We may have more triple threats. I am not a fan of triple threats generally at WrestleMania. As you know, I'm not against them just wholesale on principle. Like I'm okay with them if there's a reason to put three men together and if there's a story that entangles all three. And apparently Triple H and company feel that that's the case here with Triple H, Roman, and Seth. Or I'm sorry, Punk, Roman, and Seth. Apparently Triple H feels that there's something with these three. And sure, there are ties with these three. But as it's presently constituted, and I want to make this disclaimer up front because things could change very quickly next week or the night before WrestleMania, things can change very quickly. So I'm aware of that. The reason I'm saying this disclaimer is because I don't think we've got the full story yet on what this triple threat means. Right? There's got to be more behind this triple threat. Right? There has to be. But if there isn't, okay, let me go on what I only know right now and what you only know right now with this triple threat with Roman and Punk and Rollins. And that is, what's on the line? The answer, nothing. Nothing. Now, I am not of the belief that a championship needs to be on the line, even when big names are involved. In fact, I'll think a lot of times championships muddy the waters from an otherwise fun story that you could tell with things that are non-championship related. But in this case, I don't think I've ever, in all my years of watching WrestleMania, for me, going back to WrestleMania 14, which is the first one I really remember. I did watch a little bit of 13. And of course, I've seen the ones since then. But the ones I was really getting into wrestling since, when I really started watching in 97. I don't think I've ever can remember a bigger triple threat at WrestleMania that had absolutely little to nothing on the line. Now, one could argue, pride's on the line. WrestleMania is not a time for pride. With three big men that are still in their prime, some further along than others, with absolutely nothing on the line. This can't be it. Why are we supposed to care who wins and loses this? We're not getting the full picture. That's why I still believe it could lead to whoever wins this gets added to the triple threat at gets added to the John Cena and Cody Rhodes WWE Undisputed Championship match the following night. So this triple threat could main event night one. Winner of that gets added to the Cody match. Cody and John match. That seems to be more likely, and there are drawbacks to that as well. Now you have three big triple threats at WrestleMania with the women, the Punk, Cena, Roman, and then John Cena getting his triple threat with Cody and ex-wrestler. So there's a lot to say here, and you could do that, but here's what you're doing. The negative drawbacks about this are if you do that, and a lot of people have proposed that to me, and it sounds logical, but number one, you're doing 3 triple threats at WrestleMania. Give me a break. Number two, you're now taking away from an otherwise really good story being told by Cena and Cody. You've taken away from Rollins and Reigns by adding Punk. You've taken away from Rhea Bianca by adding Io. Now, Io's champion and she is the hot hand, but there's a story to tell there with Rhea and Bianca. And they didn't do it. There's a singular story, really good story on its own that could stand on its own between Rollins and Reigns, and they're adding Punk to it. And now there could be a really good story, and there is one between Cena and Cody, and they could add Wrestler X to it. Do you see how adding a third person makes it less intriguing in a way? Because if you're about storytelling, it creates too many paths. I don't know. I'm a big believer in single matches, especially at WrestleMania. Maybe I'm just an old guy. I don't know. But if there is nothing on the line, let's pretend that WrestleMania is tomorrow and everything is locked in position. You can't change anything. Why am I supposed to care about who wins this match between Rollins, Cena? I'm sorry, Rollins. I'm going to get these names all mixed up. Rollins and Reigns and Punk. Why am I supposed to care? Now on SmackDown, they come out, they run each other down. Fine. That's what you expect. Punk was about to get his favor cashed in from Heyman. Whatever that was going to be, we don't know. He said he'll get to it. It's still being brought up. But it was forgotten because everyone just battled everybody. And, we get the pull aparts as we get 4 times a show. I just don't know if I even have a vested interest in this match if there's nothing on the line. There has to be, but if there's not, I'm sure it'll be a fun wrestling match. It'll be a fun, oh, wow, cool false finish. Kick out, finish, kick out, finish. And then there'll be 4 more kick outs before the real finish of the kick out, and then the real finish. That's fine. And that's all, par for the course, especially at WrestleMania when everyone gets supercharged with some kind of superhuman ability to kick out of finishes that they otherwise wouldn't. And that's par for the course of WrestleMania, which is fine, but it'll go overboard in this match. And, okay, say Punk wins. Cool. I guess that means he has a claim to challenge Cena, who likely is going to win the championship at WrestleMania, and I hope he does. Okay, Roman wins. Okay. Even if there's nothing inherently, or rather explicitly, on the line in this triple threat, coming out of it, one could argue that person should challenge John Cena for the championship. That's the claim that could be made coming out of it. So you could have Punk challenge John Cena. And, I guess you could have Rollins challenge John Cena, although that seems to be, maybe the least interesting option. Plus Rollins is on Raw, although no one cares about brand rules. And then Roman could challenge Cena, but we've been down the Roman-Cena path a couple of times before. So if I was to book this based on what we see right now and based on what the apparent prize is for this match that has no prize, Punk should win, Cena wins, and you set up a Cena-Punk rivalry, one-on-one. Now, Cody could argue that he gets a rematch, he's owed a rematch, and then it becomes a triple threat. I could see triple threats just completely overwhelming us the next 6 months. And also the argument is, well, Cena's a veteran. He still can go, but it does reduce the workload for John Cena instead of having a one-on-one. And I understand that too. So we could get triple threat crazy the next 6 months. And I hope that's not the case. You're just doing a disservice to everyone involved when you add a third person with 2 guys that already have a incredibly strong historic story. One of the most storied rivalries in WWE. Rollins and Reigns, just for example, and you add a third person. So, let me know what you guys think. This is getting just kind of crazy. And I know the crowd, once we get back to the United States, because everything we're hearing right now with Italy, and I'm going to screw it up, but what the hell? Am I saying Glasgow wrong? Everybody's on me about that. I don't know. I'm from the U.S., so it's like pronouncing my town wrong. I don't really care that much. It just tells me you're not from here. So if I pronounce your city wrong, that just tells you I'm not from there, if you couldn't already guess by the fact that I don't have an Irish accent. So, but nonetheless, once we get back to, I want to say reality, because that's home base for WWE's North America, interested to hear the crowd reactions for several things, because everything is artificial overseas. It's not real. It's not real in the sense that crowd's going to be dictating what we hear at home, like the majority of the time. So that to me is going to be the most interesting, is how do the crowds react here? We'll see. We'll see. Right now it's just a weird, it's just weird. I got no other word to really describe it. So let's go into SmackDown a little bit, and then we'll touch on Raw, as you guys know the routine at this point. So we also had another really good match here, and I did enjoy Braun Strowman and Jacob Fatu. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Jade Cargill, Liv Morgan, Zelina Vega, Piper Niven, I should say. But let's start off at the top of the show. Randy Orton comes out. Crowd was going crazy, singing along as they do. And then he, what did he say here? He didn't say anything, because Kevin Owens comes out and he told Orton that he had something important to tell him, asked him to listen. Owens essentially tried to apologize. He said he was wrong. And Orton said he was wrong for, Owens said he was wrong for attacking Orton, hitting him with a pile driver, and then said that Cody and Sammy deserved everything he did to them, but Orton didn't. And he spoke from ringside while Orton took Cody's side over him, and that made him angry, and that led him to do something that he regretted. And he said Orton can relate, because he also has spoken about his anger and how it got the better of him. And he told Orton he could forgive him for taking Cody's side if Orton could forgive him. And Owens told Orton that he pulled Carmelo Hayes out of the ring last week to protect Orton from himself, and that he's changed for the better, and he shouldn't be kicking people like he once did. And he looked forward. Owens said that they need to look forward to WrestleMania, and that he couldn't think of a better moment that he and Orton could become tag team champions. So this is great stuff. We all get to the predictable Orton response, but this is classic Kevin Owens. And I was just funnily enough, watching Kevin Owens as a heel at WrestleMania 38, his promos leading into the match with Stone Cold in Dallas. And this is the best version of Owens, like by a long shot. And Kevin Owens as a babyface does work, and it's believable, and it's fun because he's a relatable guy. But Kevin Owens as a heel is on another level. He has this uncanny ability to be delusional and vicious at the same time, and then also realize he's in deep crap and try to back himself out. And that's what's happening here with Orton. He realized, oh crap, he's trying to kick my head off. I need to apologize to save my own ass. But Orton predictably tells Owens to take his half-hearted apology and stick it up his ass. And Orton said Owens deserves to be kicked so hard that he gets a pat on the back from Roberto Baggio. I don't know who these people are. I'm guessing he's somebody that plays soccer over there. I don't know. Not sure. I don't even... that's my guess, because that's the only sport that really matters over there, or as you guys call it, football. So I'm guessing that's what it is, somebody that plays soccer. But I'm sure everybody over there is just appalled by the fact that I don't know who this guy is. But you got to remember, I'm from the United States, where soccer, again, you guys call it football, is ranked like eighth on sports, like people's, priority list of major league sports here. Most people doesn't even make the top 5. All right. It's like NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA, NHL, golf, bowling, and then maybe there's time for soccer. I mean, I'm serious. I know like one soccer fan in my entire, I've known one. That's it. That people actually follow soccer. Again, I know you guys call it football, so bear with me. But I've known one person. Okay, so just take that for what it's worth when I tell you I don't know who this guy is, and I'm going to guess that's who this person is some famous soccer player that is good at kicking the ball. So, there. So, Orton said it was fight Owens fight, and now it's... I can't say these words because I'm trying to keep it PG, but Orton said he hears voices now, and they tell him that whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but not for Owens. Orton said he intends to kick Owens' head off, right off his shoulders at WrestleMania. So there we go. Orton and Owens, WrestleMania. I'm looking forward to it. See how simple that is? One-on-one, good story. There's a nice backstory here. We don't get Cody and Orton yet, although I'm waiting for that. We do get Orton and Owens, and that's fine. Spike Piledriver. There's a nice backstory of why he did what he did and trying to end his livelihood and trying to apologize. And now Orton is looking for revenge, and he's not going to accept the apology. So what we're looking for, the big payoff, is Orton kicking Kevin Owens in the head. That's the payoff. And that's what they're trying to get you to tune into WrestleMania to see, at least in part. So it's a good, solid story here. Nothing fancy, but it doesn't need to be. And this is going to be a really fun match. Very straightforward. See how easy, guys? See how easy one-on-ones are? All right. So let's go to, let's see, Damian Priest making his entrance for a tag team match where he and Jimmy Uso, not Mr. Say His Name. No one said his name, so I guess he didn't appear, which is a big disappointment, I do have to say, that Joe Hendry did not appear. Many of us expected it. It was not meant to be. So it was Damian Priest teaming with Jimmy Uso to take on Drew and Shinsuke. And this match was about 8 minutes with Damian and Jimmy taking out Drew and Shinsuke. And the finish was McIntyre ran Priest through the ropes. And then Jimmy super kicked McIntyre, who went to ringside. Jimmy kicked McIntyre from the apron. And then Nakamura knocked Jimmy off the apron with a running knee. And then Priest hit South of Heaven on Nakamura and got the victory. McIntyre did attack Priest after the match, and he mounted Priest, said he would come for Priest whenever he sees him, and Priest reached up, choked McIntyre, broke free, and then McIntyre stood up and hit Priest with a Claymore and hovered over him and said, every time you get up, I'll put you down. So good. Solid beatdown. Good heel heat. Vicious McIntyre. Despite the fact McIntyre lost, didn't hurt him a bit because he didn't get pinned. Nakamura did. And he got heat after the match to make you forget about the loss that he was associated with. So really good stuff here. Really good. I wish they had bigger plans for McIntyre at WrestleMania, and maybe they still do. But it looks like he's involved with Damian Priest, maybe in a tag team situation, or maybe it's one-on-one. McIntyre and Damian deserve a one-on-one. Certainly. All right. So Braun Strowman's backstage warming up. We had some more split screen. The split screen interview. Let me get to that. So this, again, was weird. It seemed to really... It showed some things, and I'm going to get a lot of heat for what I'm about to say here. I don't care. I call it like it is. First of all, as far as performers goes, you could tell who's the amateur and who is the professional, in terms of, not that Tiffany is not a professional, but who has more experience. And the fact is that Charlotte Flair has more experience. She's more confident in who she is. She wasn't flustered by the interview. She held it together fine. And Tiffany was not. It wasn't embarrassing for her. It was just kind of like, okay, yeah, she's young. She needs work. And working with top talent like Charlotte can't do anything but help. That's really all it was. I'm not crapping on Tiffany at all. She is an up-and-coming talent. The crowd's behind her. She's already champion. She does have work to do, and that's evident. So it's fine. It is what it is. That's the cycle of building a star. But let's get to it. Again, I've got a few things I'm going to say that are going to get me some heat. So hold on there. But Flair said that the Queen goes first and told Stratton she isn't special for being compared to her because everyone's compared to her. And said having blonde hair and being able to do a backflip isn't enough to warrant the comparison. Stratton told Flair she was once her biggest supporter. Now she can't even look at her in the eye when they're in the ring together. And Flair said she's the only one in the locker room who will tell Stratton the truth. Stratton said Flair finds the hottest thing and throws cold water or throws water on it. That was not a good comparison. Not a good analogy. It was weird. So Flair said Stratton isn't even the hottest wrestler on SmackDown, let alone the entire company. And Stratton said she has her entire career to beat Flair's accolades. Flair said Stratton will be lucky to have a job when she's Flair's age. And Stratton said the WWE universe doesn't bow to Flair. They run on Tiffy time. So she got her little, her little, catchphrase in. And so Flair did walk all over Stratton in this promo. And it felt very much like Tiffy was an amateur in this, or at least, again, a little more inexperienced than Charlotte was. And that's okay. That's okay. What I will say too, beyond that, that Tiffany does have some work to do on the mic, and respect there, because it's not easy. It is difficult. Really difficult. You could argue it's more difficult than figuring out the in-ring stuff. And there's a lot of layers to that. But I think you can talk people into a building. You can't really talk them into it with your matches, but you can talk them into it with why they should be there. Because fans will emotionally invest when they understand who and what you are, how they can relate, and why they should care if you win or lose. They can't do that with a Ricochet style career of, yeah, you look the part and you say generic stuff. Oh, cool. And you do some backflips, and oh, wow, you do all these reversals, and you're a great gymnast in the ring. Nobody, I can say this fairly high confidence. Pretty much nobody that came to WWE events was there simply for Ricochet. Ricochet talked 0 people into the building. I'm using him as an example. Number one, because he's kind of a D-bag. I mean, he just is as a person. But also because it's just true. It's just true. Now, that's not even the part that's going to get me a little heat here. And this is just calling a spade a spade. Looking at the side-by-side comparison with Tiffany and with Charlotte, I mean, I don't know who thought of this. Maybe it wasn't even considered at all, or maybe if they saw it or someone mentioned it or didn't mention it, they didn't care. Tiffany is like Charlotte before she got 46 injections of Botox. I mean, and she wants to get Botox. I mean, more power to her. I don't care. And Charlotte would say we're all obsessed with how she looks and her, well, number one, you're a public figure. So guess what? We get to comment on that. And it doesn't always have to be positive. Okay. We all have our preferences. We all have the things we like and don't like. And again, when you're a public figure, that's the life you choose. That's the things that you have to accept that come with that career. That's just the way it is. And not all of it's going to be positive. And I think Charlotte generally is an attractive woman. I don't like when anyone, man or woman, because men do Botox too. I don't like it. Nobody, man or woman, looks good with it. Never. No, it's just age gracefully, man. Or woman. Age gracefully. There's no shame in that game. You can always tell because Charlotte, I mean, if she wanted to, I couldn't tell if she's angry, sad, mad, I don't know, because her face is incapable of showing emotion now. And I don't know. Again, she had lip fillers and whatever. I mean, a lot of women do. It's fine. You do what you got to do. But I'm going to tell you, like, looking at Tiffany, who is a lot more natural in the facial area than Charlotte is, who's gotten a lot of work done. And again, guys, I'm sure y'all are going to run to the comments. You know, like, you're going to UPS Express delivery overnight, running to the comments to whatever. I don't care. But before you do that, I want to be loud and clear. Okay. I don't blame Charlotte for doing what she's doing or really care that much. I'm just making an observation because because she's a public figure. Okay. That's why. That's the deal you make with the devil when you voluntarily sign up for this career. But seeing Tiffany and Charlotte side by side in that camera cut, boy, oh boy, it's like, again, it's Charlotte before and Charlotte after. I'm just like, oh my God. You know, her face is like, just, it's like in a static mode, you know? I don't know if she's happy or sad. I don't know what emotion she's feeling because I don't think her face can show it anymore. And that's the case no matter who does Botox. And I know people that do it and it looks terrible. I know people in my own life that do it and I don't like, I think it's terrible, but you do what you want. You do what you want. But again, as public figures, I get to comment on it. And it's not my favorite because it never looks right, no matter how much they try to advance things and everything else. And the medicine's progressing and look at all these new techniques and new styles and new formulas. Yeah. So far, not so good. You can always tell. So there's my heat. There's my 1-star review. But you guys, I keep it real here. All right. And I'm not picking on women. Women are the ones that do use it the most. I'm just simply attacking. What I'm really attacking is the actual, medicine itself, which never makes anyone look good. Never. It's just not my cup of tea. And I've seen men do it in my life. Not men I know personally, but from like acquaintances. It looks awful, even on dudes. Terrible. Anyway, so there. All right. So Jacob Fatu takes on Braun Strowman for a shot at the U.S. Championship. This program is becoming a lot of fun. I mean, these two are very well suited for one another. Jacob Fatu continues to be the star of the bloodline that is really all but, I mean, they've taken a big back burner here. Not as much of a back burner as the Wyatt Six, which have completely vanished off the face of the earth. But still, Jacob Fatu continues to be the star there. This match was good. This match lasted, let me get the timestamp here, 9 minutes with Braun Strowman beating Jacob Fatu, but only because there was interference here. And it was Tama Tonga who caused the DQ. So Strowman put Fatu down with multiple clotheslines and clubbed his chest. Fatu went to ringside and we had Strowman follow, did his ridiculous express thing to knock Fatu over the broadcast table. Strowman threw Fatu back inside the ring, ducked the clothesline, and then hit him with a spine buster. That's when Tama Tonga comes out, he appeared on the apron, and then Strowman brought him inside the ring, roughed him up, and Solo Sikoa entered the ring and hit Strowman for the DQ finish. So I'm sorry, Solo caused the DQ finish, not Tama Tonga. And then after the match, Fatu did not look happy after what had transpired, and nevertheless, Jacob Fatu joined them to beat down Strowman briefly. And the tension continues to build with Fatu and Solo here. And that's when LA Knight comes out, makes the save, fights off Tonga, and that allowed Strowman to recover and join Knight in clearing everybody from the ring. So Braun Strowman gets a United States title shot. Is it next week? It can't be WrestleMania. I mean, I would think that match is probably slated for next week or the week after for the United States Championship. You do wonder if LA Knight's going to even appear at WrestleMania in a singles role? I don't know. He's the United States champion. You would think that that's nearly a shoo-in to make sure you have a singles match or a multi-man match at the very minimum. But he could be relegated to the pre-show. But I don't know. I must have missed where that United States Championship match is slated to take place. Probably, again, if it's Braun Strowman versus LA Knight, that doesn't exactly ring a WrestleMania bell to me. So then we have, Piper Niven take on Zelina Vega. This match was longer than I expected. I'll say that. 12 minutes where Piper Niven beats Vega. And, hey, that's what happens at a 3-hour show. They are the benefactors of a 3-hour show. Had this not been a 3-hour show, number one, I don't know if this match would have been on, but if it was, it would have been at least half the time. 5-6 minutes. But good for them. See, this is the benefit, again, of a 3-hour show. Okay, downside is it's a 3-hour show, which almost nobody likes. But for the women and men there, they're allowed to get more time because they have more time, which is better for them because they hone their craft. They're able to tell a longer story. They don't have to rush through as much as they normally would. For talent, I'm sure they're thrilled, as they should be. But for the general viewing audience, it sometimes can be a drag. So let's see here. We have a official announcement here for KO and Randy Orton for WrestleMania 41. We then get Jade Cargill interviewed by Kathy Kelly backstage. Jade said that Morgan disrespected her, so she's going to show her. Jade said once she finishes with Morgan, she'll then focus on Naomi. And that's when we get the match. So this match went 10 minutes. And I have to say, I have been very critical of Jade over the last several months to year. More than that now. And I don't take a single criticism back. But I have been rooting for her to succeed. If you've been listening to me while I've been critical, I still want her to succeed. Because I see what WWE is trying to create with her. She looks incredible, and they can market the hell out of her. But eventually there has to be some sizzle, or there has to be some steak and not just sizzle, as Jim Ross would say. And we're starting to see signs of that. Now, Liv Morgan in her own right has improved head over heels in the last couple of years. She's had a career year. She is one of the top women in the company. And so working with Jade doesn't hurt anyone. She's a really good opponent for Jade because Jade can manhandle her. She can use her power, show off her strength. And that's what happened here. Not too many bumbles, stumbles, and botches, which is good. That's the one thing you worry about with Jade that we've seen in the past. She did try to act a little bit too much like she's a cruiserweight, doing the same moves everybody else does. And I think I've just kind of come to accept that. Even the big men in WWE, like Ivar, is doing moonsaults and stuff. There can't ever be anybody that's the larger or clearly stronger than everybody else figure in that division, and they still don't want to act like that. In other words, if you have a giant in the division, act like a giant because it changes things up. It changes the dynamic. It changes the feel of a match, the dynamic, how the pacing of the match goes. And instead, everybody's trying to do the same move set that everyone else does. And sometimes that can be a bit of a drag because it feels like everybody's just created from the same mold. So that's the one downside, but it's not Jade's fault. She's in the WWE system, and she's a product of that system now. So that said, though, she's clearly improved. And being able to put on a 10-minute match, nothing memorable, but one that you're just looking for improvement for Jade, and I think we saw it. After the match, though, after Liv beat Jade, and the reason she beat Jade, by the way, which is kind of incredible that they had her lose, having Jade lose is, even though she's not super new, she didn't just debut, she is finally getting her, her singles push, and she loses. That said, she only lost because of Naomi, who appeared on the apron. Jade went after her. Morgan went for Oblivion, but Jade countered, and then Rodriguez distracted the ref while Naomi hit Jade with one of the WWE tag team title belts, and Morgan hit Oblivion. After the match, Naomi attacked Jade and used her legs to drive her head on the mat, and Naomi followed by knocking Jade off the apron onto the broadcast table. So, Naomi is in a nice position here. Naomi is in a better position than she's been in years. Maybe in her entire WWE career, you could argue. Being a heel, she feels refreshed. Are fans super behind Jade? Not really. I don't get the sense that people are enamored with Jade. Maybe that'll come with time. What I think is going to really help her, even more than the in-ring improvements that are hopefully going to continue, is who are you? Are you more than just a good Instagram photo? You know, are you more than just six-pack abs and a curvy body and whatever else she likes to show off? Are you more than that? And in ring, she's shown that she's improving, but the most important thing is the damn mic. Who are you? Why should we care? And she needs to continue to try to connect with fans on that level. What could also help too, if they want to go the emotional attachment to Jade, do just some pre-tape stuff about her history, about her life. We know nothing about her. What about some history? Talk to her, some of her family or friends. You don't have to talk about AEW. You can pretend that didn't exist. That's fine. But they should do that, because if you're a fan who only watches WWE, you have you don't know anything about her. She's very superficial. There's more there, and we should see it if they want fans to get behind Jade. All right. So Kelly then caught up with Drew, and he said he didn't start things with Damian, but he's going to end it. And he'd love someone to explain how he's wrong. He said people say he cries, but he gives logic without holes. And he wrapped up the promo by saying he'd be in London. McIntyre crossed paths with Seth Rollins, who stared him down and chuckled before walking past him. So good. Fine. Yeah. London's next. So then we have the Street Profits, a video package of the Street Profits beating DIY to win the WWE Tag Team titles on last week's SmackDown. And that's when the Tag Team Champions are introduced. And they come out dressed in black. And a "You Deserve It" chant broke out. And Ford said they were Tag Team Champions for the first time in 4 years. And Angelo Dawkins said it was about damn time. He said doubt crept in when they were questioning each other. He mentioned the tag titles. And Dawkins said winning the tag titles made it all worth it. And Ford said they were celebrating, but he wanted to be serious for a moment. And he said he learned that he can always count on his brother through the highs and lows. And they had a neat guy handshake and then hugged. And Barrett said he and Tessitore need their own handshake. Okay. So Legado del Fantasma then come out. And they're still a thing. And Escobar sang the praises of his tag team and said Los Garza are ready to take the tag titles from the Profits. Pretty Deadly come out and also try to make themselves a contender. So before we get to this next matchup here, it's nice to hear from the Street Profits. They generally feel like the same two guys. A little bit of tweaking here and there, but for the most part, they're by and large the same two dudes. Again, it's a false... It might be giving WWE false hope on some storylines by being overseas. Everything's magnified. The crowds are 4 times the noise level of any average North American-based audience. So everything you're hearing may not be real, and WWE needs to understand that. Like they're overseas, and that's cool. But when we get back and we're 90% back in the North American, North American travel route, are we going to hear the same things? That's the concern if I'm WWE. That everything I'm hearing is just false hope. However, the crowd was very behind the Street Profits, and they didn't add too much to themselves here. I still don't know who and what they are, other than just two cool dudes who are, went through some tough times as friends, and now they're champions, so they're riding high. I mean, I don't dislike them. They're fine. They're good in the ring. They've, again, largely been invisible for a couple of years now, other than when they were with Bobby Lashley, which had a lot of promise in the Pride, and then went away, and Bobby Lashley actually went away, and then they didn't know what to do with them, and now they're tag team champions. So perhaps they have a longer-term plan for these two guys. Well, I mean, time will tell, especially at WrestleMania, what they do with those tag titles. But let's get to the match here with the tag team champions, Montez and Angelo Dawkins, taking on Los Garza in a non-title match. The match ended up, let's see here, going 14 minutes with Angelo and Montez beating Los Garza. Good match. And, I don't know what's going to come of this. I mean, it's nice that they didn't lose a non-title match. That's typically the way that a tag team gets an opportunity, is by winning a non-title match. And this time, the tag team champions won the non-title match, so really Los Garza has no standing to challenge the tag team champions for the belts. We'll see if that changes. But again, I don't know how much credibility can be put back in this tag team when they get back to the States. I think everything they're hearing is a big old lie right now. All right. So then, let's see. We have a video hyping Triple H's WWE Hall of Fame induction. And we have Pretty Deadly greeted by DIY in a stairwell. So that matchup's probably going to happen, what I said, next week. Yeah. Gargano said they would help Pretty Deadly win next week. And then Ciampa said they would do it in exchange for being the first in line at the tag team titles. And Motor City Machine Guns showed up and taunted Gargano and Ciampa about going to the back of the line. So this is clearly setting up for a 5-way tag team title ladder match with on a pole or something. Like, there's a multi-team ladder match coming for WrestleMania. Can you feel it? All right. Okay, that's when we got the Punk Roman Rollins match or program here, and another pull apart brawl, which is just becoming an absurd overuse of the pull apart brawls, but it's effective nonetheless. I think Triple H has totally buried these, into the ground. Every single show you have 2 or 3 per show. It's too much. But as I said, something big will come of this. Something big will. I just don't know what that's going to be. We'll find out. And I will say I looked into WrestleMania tickets. Looked into them until my bank account gave me a tap on the shoulder, and I looked over, and my bank account looked me dead in the eyes, and it goes, mm-mm. No. Don't you dare. So, and the reason is, guys, I looked at just a kind of a crappy ticket in the stadium. It's like $1,000. If I don't want to be way in the back, which I don't, I'm talking like, top row, back row. I'm not doing that. But even just a kind of crappy, general crappy seat is like $1,000. I'm not spending $1,000 plus airfare, plus hotel, plus incidentals and food and all the other crap. I'm not doing it. I really don't know how some of you really do it. I mean, I'm looking at a couple $1,000 just if I go for one night, much less the 2-night event. I mean, if you have a family that you're bringing, a couple of kids, you must have taken a second mortgage out on your house, and God bless you. I don't know how some of you do it. I just don't know. And more power to you. I certainly cannot. And, it's also hard. I mean, I got a family, right? Those of you who have kids, not as easy to just pick up and go and do stuff you used to do before you had kids. So that's also a factor. So I tried. I looked into it, and I go, I can't do this. I can't justify it. So I tried. But the next time I come around here, I'll probably find a way to go. Just it's not in the cards. Pun intended, I guess, for the Vegas theme. So that'll do it for me tonight, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I will be back on Tuesday with your Raw review. If you want to go ad-free, patreon.com/WWE podcast. Good time to do it because you have a 7-day free trial that you can take advantage of, on top of the fact that if you do sign up, you get a Discord server that you can chat with other patrons of this show anytime, but even most of you do during the events, which is the most fun because you can get live feedback from the other patrons and give your thoughts in real time. And that's available to you when you become a patron. You can go to Apple Podcasts as well and subscribe and get an ad-free experience. So a couple places to go. No better time than right now to sign up. And both of them offer 7-day free trials. So there's no risk on your part if you just try us out and you're like, he's not that good. I'm done. That's fine. No harm here, no foul. But that's available if you want to check us out. And that'll do it for me. Again, I'll be back on Tuesday with your Monday Night Raw review from London. So that'll be fun, I'm sure, as we get more imaginary crowd reactions that will not resonate when they get back to the United States for a SmackDown on April 4th. This is all just smoke and mirrors. I'm telling you, it's all smoke and mirrors as the international crowds continue to just absolutely embarrass us. All right. Thank you, everybody, and I will talk to you later.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.